The moment I was reborn, I froze every bank account I had. Then I took my family's demolition payout and ran, because in my previous life, my best friend Ryan faked his own death to escape millions in debt, and the person he chose to clean up his mess? Me. For the next 10 years, I worked myself to death paying off his debts, and supporting the family he supposedly left behind. I ate steamed buns when I was hungry, slept under bridges when I was exhausted, and gave every bit of money I earned to his wife and son. I never even had time to build a life of my own, until one day, my body finally gave out. I died from years of exhaustion, but then, I opened my eyes again. I was back on the exact day everything had started. I was standing beside a river with Ryan when suddenly, "Ethan, help me." Ryan was struggling violently in the water. "I'm drowning. You know I can't swim. If I die, my wife and son will have no one. Ethan, you have to take care of them for me." The current was rushing violently. Ryan disappeared beneath the water. Finally, the river carried him out of sight, but I didn't move. I didn't panic. I didn't even call for help immediately, because I'd already seen this scene once, and this time, I knew exactly what Ryan was doing. In my previous life, Ryan had been my closest friend since childhood. I trusted him more than anyone, so when he supposedly drowned that day, I blamed myself. I thought I'd failed my best friend, and when I heard that he'd left behind his wife Chloe and their son Kevin, I made a promise. I'd take care of them. Ryan had left behind a mountain of debt, so I paid it. Chloe wanted a new car, I bought it. She wanted expensive clothes, I paid for them. Kevin needed a prestigious private school, I paid the tuition. For 10 years I worked non-stop just to keep their lives comfortable. I didn't even date. I didn't build a family. I didn't live for myself. I lived for them, but they never had enough. The more I gave, the more they demanded. Eventually, years of overwork destroyed my body. I developed cancer. And on the day I was dying, Ryan suddenly appeared, alive, healthy, and wearing expensive clothes. Standing beside him were Chloe and Kevin. I couldn't believe my eyes. Ryan looked at me and smiled. "Ethan, thanks for taking care of my wife and son all these years." Then he finally revealed the truth. His drowning had been completely fake. He had been drowning in debt, so he decided to fake his death and disappear. He knew I'd feel guilty. He knew I'd take care of his family. He deliberately made me believe he died, then used my guilt to turn me into his family's personal ATM. But I discovered the truth too late. I could only die with hatred in my heart. Now, however, I had been given another chance. I stared at the river where Ryan had disappeared. My fists slowly tightened. There had been clues everywhere. Ryan and I had always claimed that neither of us could swim. Yet even while supposedly drowning, he had remained strangely calm. Calm enough to give me detailed instructions about what to do after his death. Back then, I was too devastated to notice. But now, it was obvious. The entire thing had been an act. Ryan had played me for 10 years. This time, I wasn't going to save him. I was going to make him pay. I immediately called the police. Just like in my previous life, they searched the river but found nothing. With no body recovered, they could only assume Ryan had been swept away by the current, exactly as planned. Then I made another call to Chloe. It didn't take long before she arrived with Kevin, and the moment Chloe saw me, she rushed forward and tried to slap me. But I had already expected it. I stepped aside. Her hand missed. She immediately screamed at me. "It's all your fault. Why did you take Ryan fishing? If you hadn't brought him here, he wouldn't have died. Now he's gone. What are Kevin and I supposed to do?" In my previous life, those words would have crushed me. I would have apologized. I would have blamed myself, and I would have promised to take care of them. But this time, I simply looked at Chloe and calmly said, "Don't blame me. This was Ryan's idea. I didn't even want to come." Then I looked toward the river. Besides, Ryan hasn't been confirmed dead. Chloe froze. "What? Until his body is found? I'm not going to assume he's dead." Then I looked directly into her eyes. "Although, you seem awfully eager to believe he is." For a brief moment, Chloe's expression changed, and that's when I realized. This time, I wasn't going to become their savior. I was going to expose them. Chloe stared at me in disbelief. "How can you say that? Ryan was your best friend. He's dead because of you." I didn't argue. I had heard those exact words before, but this time, I simply shook my head. Ryan was the one who insisted on coming fishing. I tried to stop him, and right now he's only missing. So why are you already treating him like he's dead? Chloe's expression tightened. Everyone saw him get swept away. Maybe, but until we find his body, I won't believe he's dead. Then I added calmly, "Besides, why do I get the feeling that you really want him to be dead?" Chloe's face immediately changed. "No, he's my husband. How could I possibly want him dead?" She quickly turned the blame back toward me. "You were supposed to watch him. You were his best friend. If you actually cared about him, you'd take responsibility." I almost laughed. Responsibility for what? He went into dangerous water by himself. I couldn't stop him. If you really consider Ryan your best friend, you should take care of us. I already knew where this was going. I never said I would. Chloe's eyes widened. Kevin is about to start school. We don't even have his tuition. Ryan is gone now. You're his best friend. You have to help us. Before I could answer, Kevin ran over. "Uncle Ethan, I want a new toy. Buy it for me." I stared at them. A grieving wife, a child demanding toys. Neither of them looked particularly devastated. In my previous life, I had been too heartbroken to notice. But now, every little detail looks suspicious. No money? Then don't go to the private school. Send Kevin to a public school. Chloe exploded. "What? How can Kevin possibly go to a public school? Are you trying to ruin my son's future?" I remained completely calm. Kevin's grades aren't exactly impressive. He'll survive. Chloe stared at me as if I'd committed some unforgivable crime. Ryan considered you his best friend. And now that he's gone, you're abandoning us. You have no conscience. Her accusations continued for several minutes. But I didn't give her anything. No apology, no guilt, and most importantly, not a single penny. Eventually, Chloe realized she couldn't get anything from me. She stormed away with Kevin. I watched them leave. The next few days passed. Ryan still hadn't been found. Everyone assumed he was dead. I didn't bother looking for him. I already knew exactly where this would lead. And sure enough, then one afternoon my phone suddenly rang. It was Chloe. Her voice was completely different. Panicked. "Ethan, come to my house. Please. You have to save us." I frowned. "What's happening? Just come. If you don't, Kevin and I are going to die." She hung up. I immediately headed over. When I arrived, I saw something completely unexpected. There were several huge men standing inside Chloe's house, and they didn't look like people who had come for a friendly visit. Chloe spotted me and immediately rushed over. "Ethan, thank God you're here. Help us. These people are going to hurt us." Then she pointed at the men. "This is my husband's best friend. Ryan owes you money. He'll pay it back." Kevin immediately joined in. "Yeah, Uncle Ethan will pay Dad's debt. Just ask him." The men slowly turned toward me. One of them looked me up and down. Then he asked, "You're going to repay their debt?" I frowned. "What debt?" The man paused. Then his expression turned furious. "Don't play dumb. Ryan owes us a lot of money." I looked at Chloe. She immediately put on a helpless expression. "They came here today demanding money. They said Ryan owes them a huge amount. I don't have anything. They're going to take our house." "Ethan, you're Ryan's best friend. You have to help us." I almost smiled. Because now, I finally understood why Ryan had chosen to fake his death. It wasn't just to escape responsibility. It was to escape a mountain of debt. And in my previous life, I had been the idiot who paid it all. But this time, I wasn't going to save Chloe. I wasn't going to save Kevin. And I certainly wasn't going to save Ryan. I looked at the men. "How much does Ryan owe you?" The leader answered coldly. 5 million. I deliberately widened my eyes. 5 million? There's no way I have that kind of money. If it were 10 or 20,000, maybe I could help. But 5 million? I shook my head. "You'll have to find another way." Chloe suddenly became nervous. "What do you mean?" Then she blurted out, "But you have the demolition money." I went completely still. There it was. The reason behind everything. The demolition compensation from my family's old property had arrived only a few days earlier. I had casually mentioned it to Ryan while drinking. And somehow, Chloe already knew. I looked at her. She immediately realized she'd said too much. Then I smiled. Because now I knew exactly what had happened. Ryan hadn't randomly chosen this moment to fake his death. He knew I had money. He knew I trusted him. And he knew that if he disappeared, I'd feel responsible enough to pay his debts. But he had made one fatal mistake. He never expected me to remember the future. Chloe's expression changed the moment she realized she'd exposed herself. "You misunderstood me. I only meant that you have some money. The demolition money is with my parents, and it's only a little over 1 million. Even if I gave you every last cent, it wouldn't cover 5 million. That was a lie. The real amount was 4 million. But Chloe didn't need to know that. She immediately became anxious. "Then give us whatever you have." "Why should I?" "Because Ryan was your best friend." I looked at her. "Ryan borrowed the money. Why should I repay it? This house is worth 2 million. Sell it and repay the debt." Her face immediately changed. "Then where would Kevin and I live?" I shrugged. "Rent somewhere. It's not like there are no houses to rent." Chloe looked furious. But before she could continue, I turned toward the men. "Gentlemen, I only found out about Ryan's debt today. Ryan is my best friend, but that doesn't make his debt mine. Whoever borrowed the money should repay it." The men stared at me. Then I added, "And there's one more thing. Ryan hasn't been found yet, so you don't actually know that he's dead." The leader frowned. "What are you trying to say?" "I'm saying, maybe Ryan isn't dead at all. Maybe he just doesn't want to come home." The men exchanged glances. I continued, "If he's alive, he'll eventually return. And if he's dead, you can deal with his family afterward. But if you drive them out right now, sell their house, and they disappear, you might never recover your money." That argument clearly caught their attention. The leader thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "Fine. Today, I'll give you some face, but listen carefully." He turned toward Chloe. "Don't even think about running. If you disappear, you're going to regret it." The men left. The moment the elevator doors closed, Chloe's expression changed completely. She turned toward me furiously. "Ethan, are you even Ryan's best friend? Why are you trying to hurt us?" I looked at her calmly. "When did I hurt you?" I simply told them the truth. Ryan owes them money, not me. And right now, he's not even confirmed dead. She didn't know how to answer, so I gave her a helpless smile. "Don't worry, I'll think of something. I'm Ryan's best friend. I won't abandon you." Chloe's anger slowly disappeared. She looked relieved. "Ethan, I knew you wouldn't leave us." I nodded. But the moment I stepped into the elevator, I smiled. "Ryan, I'll definitely help you. I'm just not sure. You'll like the way I do it." A few days later, I called Chloe and asked her to meet me. She arrived looking confused. "What happened?" "I've been thinking about your situation. I finally came up with a solution." Her eyes immediately lit up. "What solution?" I lowered my voice. "Ryan has been missing for so long. I think we have to accept that he's probably dead." Chloe's face tightened. I continued. "I kept hoping he would come back. But you and Kevin still have to live. So, I found someone for you." She She stared at me. Someone? A man with money. Chloe's eyes widened. I calmly explained. His name is Alex. He's a businessman. He's worth tens of millions. He's also looking for a wife. Chloe immediately became interested, but she tried to hide it. Ethan, isn't this a little inappropriate? Ryan hasn't even been gone that long. I sighed. I'm doing this because I'm Ryan's best friend. If Ryan were here, I believe he'd want you and Kevin to have a good life. You're still young. Are you really going to spend the rest of your life alone? Chloe fell silent. Then I dropped the bait that I knew would be impossible for her to ignore. There's just one thing. Alex can't have children, so he doesn't mind that you already have Kevin. In fact, he's actually happy about it. Chloe's eyes flickered. She was thinking about it. I could practically see the greed in her expression. Finally, she nodded. All right, I'll talk to him. Then I'll give you his contact. After Chloe left, I leaned back in my chair. Everything was going exactly as planned. Ryan had used Chloe to make me pay his debts. Now, I was going to use Chloe to drag Ryan out of hiding, because I knew Chloe. She wasn't the type of woman who would remain loyal out of love. She had stayed with Ryan because he provided her with a comfortable life. And now I had placed something much more tempting in front of her, a richer man. I was certain she'd take the bait, and I was right. Only 1 week later, Alex contacted me. Ethan, are you sure Chloe just lost her husband? She doesn't act like a grieving widow. I only mentioned that I had money, and she immediately became extremely interested. I laughed. That's exactly why I introduced you to her. Alex shook his head. If she weren't your friend's wife, I'd stay far away from her. Don't worry. This is only temporary. Once we get what we need, we're done. Alex nodded. Then let's follow the plan. I smiled, because the plan was simple. Make Chloe betray Ryan. And once Ryan heard that his wife was about to run away with another man, I knew exactly what would happen. He would have no choice but to come out of hiding. And sure enough, the next morning my phone rang. The moment I answered, I heard the words I'd been waiting for. Ethan, we found Ryan. I smiled. After all this time, Ryan had finally appeared. I immediately headed to the address I had been given. It was a decent apartment complex, far better than where Chloe and Kevin were living. That alone made my blood boil. In my previous life, I had worked myself to death to support his family. Meanwhile, Ryan had been secretly enjoying life all along. After waiting outside the building for nearly an hour, I finally saw a familiar figure walk out. It was Ryan. His face was rosy, his clothes were expensive, and there wasn't the slightest trace of hardship on him. Does this look like a dead man? No. This looked like a man who had escaped all responsibility and was living comfortably. At that moment, several large men suddenly surrounded him. Ryan froze. The leader stepped forward and grabbed his collar. So it's really you. You faked your death and hid here. We've been looking for you for a long time. Ryan's face instantly turned pale. How did you find me? The man sneered. That's not important. What matters is this. Are you paying back the money today or not? I don't have any money. They dragged him toward a van parked nearby. Ryan struggled desperately. Let me go. Help. Someone help me.